Hey, how's it going, everyone? So I just want to do a quick check-in on some maps. So I figured I'd just do not a voiceover, but a little video and let you watch some random riding footage. But so the maps I've been using for my 2025 YZ250FX. I've primarily been using a couple of maps. So I've ran standard map a lot with traction control on, traction control off, traction control on max. Pretty good map. I don't have anything negative to say about it. Pulls pretty cleanly throughout the rev range. Nothing that stands out to me. It's there, works. I could run it if it was the only map I had. I'd probably be fine with it. But it's a little more torquey than I remembered it. Going back and forth between a couple of different maps. And I will put the maps in this video off my phone so you know exactly which maps I'm talking about and what the actual inputs are for ignition and fueling for these maps. So pulls pretty cleanly, no real problems with the standard map. Then we're going to move on to the response map. So the response map, I've heard a lot of good things from a lot of people, and I never really tried it. So I put it in, uploaded it to the bike, and it definitely has more low-end torque. So I noticed that. What I didn't necessarily dislike, but was noticeable to me, is the power starts to fade off at the upper RPM range. So that would probably be pretty good if you wanted some torque, but you didn't want it to start ripping your arms out, at the upper RPM. So you wanted it to almost like just kind of level off a little bit. So it's torquey, smooth roll on. I do like the roll on, the on and off throttle of that when you're moving. It just seems pretty good. Even when I'm, if you watched some of my previous videos, I've complained about the on-off throttle feel. Just cruising around, like during, connecting trails and whatnot. This seems to be pretty smooth with that, but doesn't totally fix the issue. And if you're wondering why I haven't gotten like a throttle tamer or filed down my cam, because it doesn't really bother me. What I usually do is upshift and just give it more gas, and I'm good. So primarily for me is more about the actual riding. If it was doing this in the woods or on a moto track and it was giving me like a herky-jerky throttle, I would absolutely fix it, but that's not the case. So it really doesn't bother me very much. The response map, all that being said, the response map's not really my favorite. So I do have it. I kept it in, my list of maps, but I don't really feel like I'll be running it very often because of the other maps. So the next map is the Keefer Freefield 2.0. That map I can live with all day long. I wouldn't need another map. I feel like it pulls pretty cleanly, has plenty of torque, but it's very linear, and as the name states, it's pretty free feeling, so that's good. Nothing really stands out to me about that map though. Like nothing glaringly obviously like it has a lot of torque or it pulls really hard. Just there, smooth, works, which is good. I have no complaints. And now I should say all these other maps I'm talking with no traction control, so I'm not running any kind of traction control. And that leaves me level 7 on the slider, most aggressive. That is my favorite map. Okay, why? Well, it is the most impressive power. The roll-on's not great. So if you're in really tight woods, I feel like it's a little snappy, and it definitely gives me some arm pump if I'm not careful with that map, which is kind of surprising to me. But yeah, when I start riding this bike aggressively in level 7, it's enough to get my arms pumped up. And you definitely feel the extra like instantaneous torque right off the crack of the throttle, which is nice. But it's the map just continues to pull. It doesn't give up. So there's not like the response map where kind of like I feel like it levels off. This one just keeps climbing and pulls very smoothly all the way throughout the power band. And yeah, I just did 2 hours on the bike of some little bit of training, like nonstop. So I want to ride for 2 hours straight with nonstop and just, just for get some endurance training. I haven't done that in a while. And I was doing like a 15-mile loop while I was doing this. And there were some corners that were like pretty flowing and connecting trails from you duck out of the woods, going to the next set of woods. And I'm bringing this up because I was in third gear and I just was ripping on it, right? Full throttle, and surprised the crap out of me. Third gear, this bike is pulling a wheelie in pretty sandy conditions, and I couldn't get over it. I was kind of blown away. Like, I was like, did this bike just wheelie in third gear? And I don't know, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but I don't expect a 250 to have that much power. So what I'm getting at is I'm very impressed with the power of this bike. And I don't really feel like I need any more. Yeah, so level 7 on the slider is probably my favorite map I've tried so far, just because it's the most aggressive. It gives me a lot of power, but it still remains like smooth linear power. It's just right off the bottom, it's a little much in the real tight stuff. So if you're really working on not using your clutch and trying to work through some tight woods, it could be a little on and off on that and be a little bit much down low. But aside from that, I really like it. Aside from that, I got some notes up here if you see me looking. Yeah, it's my favorite map in less really tight technical areas. Then I'll probably go like standard map, Freefield 2.0, maybe even the response map for that, because if it's continuously tight, I could see that response map actually coming in handy because it doesn't continue to pull real hard up top. And yeah, I don't feel like I need any more power than that aggressive level 7. I think that's enough. So in conclusion, I'm not going to ask for any more power to this bike. I'm probably going to do the Twin Air Power Flow kit just for, I like the extra security of how the air filter bolts in, or maybe I'll just come up with my own little like right angle, some way to secure the airbox, which that could probably work just as well. But final thoughts, I would really love to ride one of these bikes that was tuned, like a Vortex that's tuned by Twisted Development or something like that, like I had on my 350, because man, I do feel like even though I'm saying it's smooth power, you can tell the mapping is still it's got some slop in there. It could definitely be cleaned up. It's not like it's some of the best mapping. Like my last 23 KTM 350 XCF, hands down, that motor and the way that was tuned from Twisted Development, cleanest bike I've ever personally ridden. So I can only imagine this bike with one of those, but I'm not going to do it. It's a lot of money. I don't need any more power, and this thing's not causing me any heartache with the tuning that's available to it. Anyway, guys, I don't want to keep you too long. Thanks for watching my videos, and thank you really for all the subscribers. I've noticed I've gotten quite a few since I've been posting some of this 250FX content, so hopefully you're enjoying it. If you want to see anything or have any questions, just leave any of the questions down below in the comments, and I'm pretty good at getting back to you guys. If you're not subscribed, because I did look at my analytics, which I don't do too often, and there's like 90% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. If you don't hate me, subscribe. Why not? It's not costing you anything. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a good day.